Right. Let's talk about Zion. In 2016, he was the king of AAU highlights. In 2018, he was the college phenom breaking through sneakers and broadcast records. In 2019, he was a number one overall pick. In 2021, he was an all-star. And now in 2024, he's a disappointment. Yeah, Zion's start to his NBA career has been turbulent to say the least. He's missed hundreds of games, has had a few brief flashes of greatness, has made some questionable off-court decisions, and has drawn questions over his commitment to basketball from the likes of Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, and Shannon Sharpe. He has yet to make his playoff debut, and with the Pelicans currently at the bottom of the Western Conference, that looks unlikely to change. The guy has missed 206 games in his first 5 professional seasons. For context, let's look back at some other famously injured draft picks. Blake Griffin missed 101 during that span, Derrick Rose missed 130, Walton's at 201, Embiid's at 252, and Greg Oden takes the gold at 312. So not the best start, but he still got time, and things could certainly have gone worse. Walton made the Hall of Fame. Blake and Embiid probably aren't far off. Rose has an argument for Springfield. Still, let's not act like this is what we were all expecting, and it's certainly not what the league office wanted. Just look at how many national games New Orleans gets year after year. They needed him to pop. That hasn't happened yet. The guy has ballooned in weight since his freshman season at Duke, and we don't know if his head's in the right place. This was supposed to be the new face of basketball once upon a time. Everyone's asking the question, what happened to Zion? To answer that, we need to know how playing in the NBA changes people. I'll be honest, this isn't a story about Zion. Some want to say he's part of a new, entitled generation of superstars. People want to make it seem like this is a modern Gen Z issue. It really isn't. We've always had disappointing superstars. Zion's clearly not a bust. There's something in there that just hasn't clicked yet. So why does this happen? I'm borrowing a phrase from Bill Simmons, but Zion reminds me of a generation that he likes to call the too much, too fast, too soon era. Basically, the NBA was flush with cash in the mid-90s thanks to the global popularity brought by Michael Jordan. Because of the revenue-sharing process, other players enjoyed the fruits of his labor. As a result, salaries exploded during this era. Keep in mind, this was before the max contract and caps on salary lengths. Rookie contracts were shorter and there was no restricted free agency. So guys were signed to big money for 7, 10, 12-year deals very early on in their careers. Think about guys like Chris Webber, Glenn Robinson, Juwan Howard. They signed these massive deals when they were young before they were established players. The problem is that, as the name implies, the money came too much, too fast, and too soon. With the bag secured, a lot of these guys checked out, and it's why that era was a graveyard for so many promising careers. It's no wonder that the '98 Finals, still the most watched series in league history, was headlined by 5 guys all over 35, and the next season was nearly canceled by a lockout spent trying to fix most of these problems. So what does this have to do with Zion? Well, everything. In 2019, Zion signed a $75 million contract with Jordan Brand, promising a signature shoe on the way. This was all before stepping foot on an NBA court. Then he becomes this incredibly popular player, especially with younger fans. It's why despite all the bumps along the way, he's a 2-time All-Star. From that, he signed a max extension in July 2022. So here's a guy with about $250 million earned at the age of 24 in a town that doesn't care about hoops, with shaky ownership and no veterans. Should we really be surprised he's underwhelmed? I want to go back to Webber for a sec, because he's really the perfect comp for Zion. He comes in the league fresh off of one of the most famous college runs ever with the Fab Five at Michigan. Orlando instantly trades him to Golden State. He signs this massive 15-year deal with an opt-out clause. He beefs with Hall of Fame coach Don Nelson, and suddenly he's getting dealt left and right, all the while he's missing games and not living up to his potential. Does any of that sound familiar? And look, being on big money doesn't always lead guys astray. Just look at the Jays out in Boston, or Giannis. LeBron is a 40-year-old billionaire and he still gives it his all. Some guys just don't deal with it the right way, then or now. And look, Webber still made the Hall of Fame, thanks to his resurgence in Sacramento. Some guys just need time. Bottom line, not every young guy we are excited for is destined to fulfill their potential. I really hope Zion leaves that franchise in New Orleans and joins a real NBA team once his deal is up. They've had problems for years, long before David Stern stopped the Chris Paul trade. I think the big contracts from Jordan Brand and the Pels let him off the hook early. Here's hoping for a career renaissance. If I had to pick a place for him to go, it'd be either Golden State or Toronto. Golden State works because it's a team that needs talent to ride out the Steph years, plus the team offers plenty of vets to get his head on straight. Toronto I really picked just because it'd be nice to see him reunite with RJ, and it's a city that loves basketball. Whatever gets him out of that swamp of a franchise. Still, I think stories like his and C-Web's show how hard it is to make it in this league, even for the guys blessed with generational talent. It goes beyond the physical toll of basketball. It becomes about the ability to work without incentive, to sacrifice when you really don't have to. In the last 5 years, Zion hasn't done much of that, and he's been a disappointment. What will his next 5 years look like? Let's see.